The first time I heard my mother-in-law's voice on my wedding day, she was standing at the front of the chapel, 300 guests watching, and she said the words, "Before this wedding continues, there's something everyone deserves to know about the bride." My husband Daniel froze. The pastor froze. My father in the front row half stood out of his chair. And me, I just smiled, because I'd been waiting 2 years for this exact moment. I reached into the small white clutch on the altar and I pulled out my phone. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Claire. I'm 31 years old. I work as a paralegal in Charleston, and I married Daniel on a Saturday in June at a small chapel just outside the city. Daniel and I had been together for 5 years before he proposed. He's kind, steady, the kind of man who texts you when he gets to work every single morning, without fail. His mother, Linda, was not steady. From the first dinner I had at her house, I'd been dating Daniel for 3 months, she made it clear I was not what she had pictured for her son. At that first dinner, she asked me where I went to college. I said the College of Charleston. She said, "Oh, that's nice. Daniel went to Vanderbilt." Like I didn't know. Like I hadn't sat next to him at his graduation. Over the next 5 years, the comments piled up. My job wasn't impressive enough, my family wasn't connected enough, my dress at Christmas wasn't appropriate enough. When Daniel and I bought our first house, she asked if my parents were helping with the down payment, which was her way of asking if I was after Daniel's money. I wasn't. I made the down payment myself. Daniel knew. Linda did not, because Linda did not ask. When Daniel proposed, Linda's first response on the family group text was a single word, "Already." I told Daniel I didn't want a big wedding. I wanted a courthouse and a steak dinner. He said he wanted his family there. He wanted his grandparents there. So we compromised. Small chapel, 80 guests on his side, 20 on mine. A reception at a riverfront restaurant. The trouble started 6 months before the wedding. Linda began telling people, Daniel's aunts, his cousins, his coworkers, that she had concerns, that I was isolating Daniel from his family, that I wouldn't let him come to Sunday dinners, none of which was true. Daniel chose, every Sunday, where to spend his time. But the rumors traveled. By March, I had 3 of Daniel's cousins asked me gently if everything was okay, if I needed help, if Daniel was being controlled. That's when I started recording. Not secretly, not legally questionable, South Carolina is a one-party consent state, and every conversation I recorded, I was a participant in. I recorded family dinners, I recorded phone calls Linda made to me when Daniel wasn't home, I recorded the brunch she insisted on having, just the 2 of us, 3 months before the wedding. The brunch where she slid an envelope across the table and said, "I will give you $50,000 to walk away from my son. He'll thank me one day." $50,000 to walk away from Daniel, from the man who texts me every morning. I didn't take the envelope, I didn't yell, I didn't even tell Daniel that night. I went home, transcribed the recording, saved it to 2 different cloud accounts, and I waited. Because I knew Linda was not going to stop, and I knew that whatever she had planned, she would not have the patience to keep it to herself forever. 2 months before the wedding, Daniel and I went to dinner with his parents. Linda was unusually quiet. At the end of the meal, she looked at Daniel and said, "I'd like to say a few words at the wedding, just a small toast, mother of the groom." Daniel looked at me. I smiled and said, "Of course, Linda, we'd love that." In the car on the way home, I told Daniel I wanted to show him something.
We sat in our driveway for an hour and a half. He listened to every recording. He cried twice. When it was over, he said one sentence, "I'm so sorry. What do you want to do?" I told him, "Nothing. Yet. Let her speak at the wedding. If she behaves, no one ever hears these recordings. If she doesn't, I want her to hear herself in front of the people she's been lying to." Daniel agreed. He said one more thing. "If you do this, I am with you. Every step." The wedding day was perfect. Until it wasn't. The ceremony started at 4. The chapel was full of white peonies. My father walked me down the aisle. Daniel cried when he saw me. We exchanged vows we'd written ourselves. The pastor was just about to say, "By the power vested in me," when Linda, who had insisted on being seated in the front row, stood up. She turned to face the guests. She held up a hand, and she said, very loudly, very clearly, "Before this wedding continues, there is something everyone deserves to know about the bride." The chapel went silent. The kind of silent where you can hear the air conditioning hum. Daniel reached for my hand and squeezed it once. That was our signal. I turned to Linda. I smiled, and I said, "Of course, Linda. Please, tell everyone what you'd like them to know. Take all the time you need." She faltered for half a second. She had expected me to panic, to cry, to beg her to sit down. When I didn't, she straightened up and she launched into it. She told the entire chapel that I was a manipulator, that I had isolated Daniel from his family, that I was after his money, that she had evidence I had been unfaithful, which was a lie, completely fabricated. She spoke for almost 4 minutes. By the end, several of Daniel's relatives were openly crying. My mother had her hand over her mouth. When Linda finished, she sat down and she looked at me with something like satisfaction. I walked, in my wedding dress, to the small white clutch on the altar. I took out my phone. I unlocked it. I opened the audio app, and I held the phone up to the microphone the pastor had been using for the ceremony. And I said, "Linda, thank you for sharing. I'd like to share something too. This is a recording of you 3 months ago at brunch." I pressed play. Linda's voice came through the chapel speakers crystal clear, saying the words, "I will give you $50,000 to walk away from my son. He'll thank me one day." The chapel was silent. Linda's husband, Daniel's father, stood up so fast his chair fell over. I let the recording keep playing. There were 3 more clips queued up. The phone call where Linda told me Daniel deserved better than someone like you. The dinner where she told her sister, in front of me, that she was praying I would call off the engagement, and the conversation where she admitted, in her own words, that the evidence of infidelity she'd been spreading to the family was something she had simply made up because she needed something to stick. When the recordings finished, I lowered the phone. I looked at Linda. She was sitting very still. Her face was the color of paper. I turned back to the pastor and said, "I'm sorry for the interruption. Please continue." The pastor, God bless him, cleared his throat, looked at Daniel, looked at me, and said, "By the power vested in me by the state of South Carolina, I now pronounce you husband and wife." Daniel kissed me. The chapel erupted, not in applause exactly, in something more complicated. Relief, vindication. A few people were laughing, a few were still crying. Linda left before the recessional. Her husband stayed. He found me at the reception, took both my hands and said, "I am so sorry. I didn't know. I should have known." Daniel's father didn't speak to Linda for 6 weeks after the wedding. 3 of Daniel's cousins reached out to apologize for ever doubting me. His grandmother, 87 years old, sharp as a tack, pulled me aside at the reception and said, "Sweetheart, that was the most dignified thing I have ever seen. You let her finish.
That takes a kind of patience most people don't have. Linda has not been to our house since the wedding. She has not met our daughter, who was born last March. Daniel calls her on her birthday. He keeps the calls short. I don't regret what I did. I don't enjoy what I did either. I gave her 2 years of opportunities to stop. I gave her a microphone at my wedding because I thought, naively, that maybe she would surprise me, that she would say something kind. She didn't. So I let her finish, and then I let her hear herself. If you would have done the same thing in my shoes, comment "let her finish" below. If you would have handled it differently, I want to hear how. Subscribe for new dramatized stories every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Stay on the edge.